Today on Up Front, America divided. Millennials are the future of the country. Can they help bridge the partisan divide? It's my question for Stephen Olakara, founder of the Millennial Action Project, and two millennial state lawmakers, Amanda Stuck of Appleton and Adam Nealon of Pewaukee. Plus, the mergers of UW's two-year colleges with four-year universities. UW-Platteville's chancellor on how it's moving forward in southwestern Wisconsin.
Covering the issues important to Wisconsin. This is Up Front with Mike Goucher.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Up Front. We hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving holiday. For many of us, this was a time to come together with family and friends and hopefully get away from the political divisions gripping our country. Today on Up Front, we're looking at the way forward in a divided country and asking, do millennials hold the key to a less divisive future? The Millennial Action Project has brought together young lawmakers from both sides of the aisle for bipartisan work, new leadership, and fresh ideas. The project was founded by UW-Madison grad Stephen Olakara. He joins us today, along with the co-chairs of the Wisconsin Future Caucus, Representative Amanda Stuck of Appleton, a Democrat, and Representative Adam Nealon of Pewaukee, a Republican. And thanks to the three of you for being with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I'm going to begin with you, Stephen, and let's talk a little bit about 2018 and the election results we just saw and the role of millennials in that election. How would you describe what happened there?
Well, we had a historic level of turnout this year, and most research has shown that the youth turnout between 18 and 29-year-olds had a 31% turnout. And that was historic, the largest ever turnout in about a quarter century. But I think it's our view that it's still too low. Yeah. And one thing we found is that young voters, both nationally and in Wisconsin, played a pretty decisive role. And within Wisconsin itself, millennials made up about 14% of the electorate, which is an all-time high. Now, one thing we sought to find with the Millennial Action Project is to dig beyond the traditional polling of Democrat versus Republican, left versus right, because we felt like there were some underlying stories there. And we did find some interesting things. For example, millennials this cycle were more motivated on issues than party, which is consistent with the long-term data we've seen on millennials identifying more as independents than with either of the major parties. The other thing we found is a belief that we need to change the culture of our political system and an interest on solutions instead of partisanship. And so that doesn't come out because in the normal polling you see millennials playing a decisive role in voting for Democrats, but I think there's something much deeper there as well.
I want to have you follow up on that, Amanda. What do you hear from people, you're a millennial, what do you hear from people of that generation? Why do they tend to stay away from the polls on most election days?
I think a lot of times they feel like it doesn't matter. I think they're really disenfranchised with politics up until recently, because I think they really felt like it didn't matter. They really weren't identifying with parties as much anymore. But I think there really has been a resurgence and a new look at how important it is to vote. So that's why I do think we see some more of that energy. But that's why it's also really important for millennial legislators, I think, to recognize that and really do their part to reach out to other millennials to talk about why it's important to be involved, about what we can do that actually does make a difference and why it matters that they're involved.
Yeah, give me a sense of that, Adam. You've got this Future Caucus, and so obviously you feel there's a role for millennials to play in trying to help bridge some of the divides that exist today. What specifically do you see that role as being?
Sure. Well, I think that in politics, everything is cyclical, right? You have right now a situation where there's a lot of division. There's a lot of argument in terms of what's the best role for Wisconsin, what's the path to a better country and a better state. And I think with millennials, I think it's going to swing back, and eventually we're going to be in a situation where we want to build consensus. We want to reach agreement. We want to work together across the aisle to try to get to a place where we can find common ground, where we can work on issues that we are able to help build a better Wisconsin. Right now, you have a lot of division. You know, you have this gridlock within the state, within the country, but eventually people are going to be tired of that. And I think that's going to start at a grassroots level, at a younger generation that's saying, you know what, we can do better than this, but how do we get there? And what are the things we can agree on? And let's start there.
I was struck by what you said, Amanda, about the partisanship and the parties. people were just not that excited about the parties as they currently exist today.
Exactly, and I think it's because they are more focused on specific issues and they want to see legislators work on those issues. And also I think they're just tired of the fighting and the divide, and they really want to see people work together and feel
Do you hear that
more
when
hopeful.
you ran unopposed in the last election? But I'm sure you hear that going door to door.
All the time at doors. That's the number one thing you hear is, why can't you just get along? Why can't you get things done? That's what people want to see. They don't really care about the parties as much, for the most part, especially younger people. They really just want to see something happen. They want to see us act more like they have to in the workplace and stop playing games.
Do you see this as a starting point, 2018 as a starting point to greater participation?
I think so, but it's really incumbent on all of us in efforts like the Wisconsin Future Caucus to model the type of leadership we want to see. What I'm concerned about is if we had all of this energy in this election, millennials came out to vote and organized in really unprecedented ways, but that energy doesn't translate to changes in the governance process. And that's where it's so important that we have leadership that sees the common humanity in each other, that seeks to inspire the better angels in our political process. Now, that's not the way things go, but I think we need to start.
So what I hear you saying is the danger here is that you have this increased turnout and then people say, well, nothing happened, nothing changed. Why should I participate in that? Is that a sort of the danger, Adam?
Well, I think that's why we're here today, and that's why we have the Future Caucus. You know, I think it's important to note that our Future Caucus is the only bipartisan caucus in the state legislature, and we're providing a platform where people from different walks of life, people with disagreements, have an opportunity to come together, to find common ground, to work on issues. And I think that is the core of what we're trying to do, is establish a dialogue, establish an opportunity to talk. We might disagree, but let's be civil about it and find the things we can agree on.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to do a little set change here. We're going to say goodbye to Stephen Alcara now. It was great to have you here for a couple of minutes. We appreciate that. But when we come back, we're going to continue with our two lawmakers. We'll be talking about some potential common ground and the prospect of a Republican-controlled legislature working with a new Democratic governor. That's when Up Front continues.
Up Front with Mike Goucher, brought to you by the American Transmission Company and the Wisconsin Corn Growers Association.